What's up, Raptor fans? Tonight, it's Adon Moss, your host. Guest appearance from Manny Rao. Last minute drops in. What's up, Manny?
What's up, everybody? How's it going, bro?
I think Oren's one of 1,200 people currently at the stadium right now. Lucky son of a gun. Sahal, I don't know, he's got like 8 jobs or something. So it's just us two tonight. Heads up to everybody listening. I have a double date in 35 minutes. So we're going to hard stop at 35 minutes. We'll talk a little bit about this game. Then we're not having film tonight, so maybe we'll just cut to questions from everybody listening. Manny, you have any thoughts on this thump down? Oh, I didn't even talk about the score. The Raptors put up a big old 129 on a lowly undermanned San Antonio Spurs, 129 to 104. Now, Manny, what kind of thoughts you got on this game?
So basically, it looked like a game where the three-point shooting was clearly the crutch of it all. The points in the paint, like San Antonio, last time I checked, they had like 48. And I mean, coming into this game, they were averaging about 58 points in the paint. They were averaging 121 points per game. And, you know, this clearly was going to be a battle of offense because neither team is spectacular on defense. So, you know, I think that all things considered, the shots were falling and the ball was bouncing the Raptors' way. And I think when you put those two things together, the three-pointer and Scotty was also assisting. He almost went for a triple-double. I'm kind of upset he didn't, but what are you going to do? At the end of the day, yeah, the Raps took care of business, and I think it has a lot to do with their three-point shots falling. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to get too excited when you crush a team that's missing their best player, both probably on the offensive and defensive end. Like DeJounte Murray is a borderline all-star.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, you like to see when we're firing on all cylinders. And I wouldn't say that that's Van Hoot. That's a very apropos timing. I wouldn't say everybody played to their best. I think, like, you know, it ebbed and flowed. OG obviously had a tough night, I would say. And I think, you know, when you stomp down these weaker teams, I'm kind of the cynic where I'm looking at like, okay, where are the holes? What are the problems moving forward to the better teams? And yeah, as you pointed out, the points in the paint to me is a very big concern. Jakob Poeltl is not an offensive juggernaut, and he just completely ate up the paint. He was 9 for 13, 12 boards, but like, you know, he just kind of had his way down there. And that's the kind of stuff that concerns me moving forward.
Yeah, 100%. That is something that that definitely played out in this game. I think that, you know, the Raptors, you know, although their shot was falling, it's not going to be like this every night going forward. But the least, I mean, I guess the silver lining of it all is this is obviously a bright side, and this is obviously the silver lining to this game. And obviously the W.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to be negative about this game. It was really fun to watch. I think what's interesting to me is, so Scotty didn't really get going until later in the game. And I think what's interesting to me is we're seeing that this team is, offensively at least, a dynamic duo. Like, this is Pascal and Freddie VanVleet's team, and it's really nice to see the hierarchy kind of shake out on the offensive end. Freddie's a fucking beast, okay? He's going to be an all-star. It's a crying shame if he isn't. The fact that people are talking about LaMelo Ball and Darius Garland over him is just absurd, because Fred's not only the focal point on the offensive end, he's the spear point on the defensive end. And you saw him in full form tonight. And what's interesting about Freddie is that, or what's encouraging about Freddie is right now, you know, what's going on with your can, man? I got your neck.
Sorry. That's me. I'm just checking. I'm trying to take a bite of this fish. I'm listening to you though.
You're eating fish in a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Better be good fish. But Freddie's rolling like he's on, you know, like he's got legit swagger right now. He has the confidence and you know the bollocks of an all-star, and that's what Toronto needs. Like we need a dude kind of like how DeMar it was for a while in Toronto. We need a dude who just walks out there and takes the big shots. And when we're struggling, he takes over. And he does that and Lowry did that all last year and the year before, right? Like things were just kind of like dying and we're bored and it's like, fuck, our offense is sludge. And then Lowry just, you know, smokes a pull-up three or bulldozes into the lane. And Freddie's doing that now on a more consistent basis. And when he's not, we're getting Pascal, who's just having a heyday at the mid-range and in the post. Y'all can go read my my article that I posted today on RaptorsRepublic.com talking about Pascal's candidacy for All-Star. It's a reach, but I mean, you look at him play, and he's fairly dominant, or has been fairly dominant in about the last 15 games. So it's nice. All that to say, it's nice to see that we got these two guys who are leading the team offensively. What's troubling, though, is I think OG and Scotty are having troubles fitting in as the third and fourth scorer, or fourth and fifth, I guess, wherever you want to put Gary. And I don't know what thoughts you have on that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, because coming into the season, we really didn't know what to expect from Pascal. We didn't know if he would be, you know, even close to like, you know, how he was during the 2019-2020 season. And you know, it just goes to show that you just can't give up on any players. And by no means did I personally give up on him, or, you know, but I know there are people out there that I thought, well, can he do what he, you know, used to do? And he's clearly showing that he's able to do it at the same level, if not higher. And, you know, like you said, your article that you wrote about, you know, his case for an all-star reserve spot. Had the Raptors, you know, if they had a better record, I think it'd be a no-brainer that him and Freddie would be going to the All-Star game, because, you know, he has the credentials and he's clearly putting up the numbers. Like 26, 12, and 5 is no fluke. And, you know, that's just like, I think it's the last 3 games that he's put up like 26, at least 20, 10, and 4 assists. I think I'm not sure, but
you're talking about Pascal.
Pascal, yeah.
Yeah, he was plus 26. He had
18, 12,
points,
and 5.
12 boards, and 5.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just so tell. It's like, this is a team that is so full of opportunity and so full of, you know, that rich offensive chemistry. But the thing is like, they need to figure out who's who, and that's a good problem to have, especially if you have a coach like Nick Nurse who's able to like plug. Oh, look what's up! look who's joining us. The
Fever can't hold Zarar down.
So yeah, I think Pascal. Honestly, man, I think after Fred and Pascal, it's the order kind of. I think the order falls like OG, Scotty, and Gary Trent. I mean, that's just my opinion. But then again, you know, Scotty and Gary is like, I think they're interchangeable, just based on like what you're looking for in different matchups. Obviously, if you're looking to space things out a bit, you probably want to go with Gary. But if you want to go with somebody that's like able to, you know, really, you know, penetrate the defense, and you're looking for somebody that can create, like Scotty's a no-brainer.
Zarar, we're talking about. First of all, it's nice to see you. Happy New Year.
Hey.
Yes, Happy New Year.
We're talking about how this offense is kind of starting to shake out hierarchically. We have our dynamic duo now, and it seems to me, at least, especially with OG, the thing about Scotty is you can throw him into the second unit, which we saw, and he's going to flourish. Like you give him the confidence to take the keys and run with it. OG seems to be struggling a little bit, being this third guy out on the baseline. It's almost like, you know, he's taking too long in his ISOs trying to figure out what to do. Do you have any thoughts on that?
So what's the 1-2? Like who's the 1-2?
Well,
could you?
I mean, it's Pascal and Freddie in some order, depending on the night. I did a quick reaction for this game, and like OG, it's just good to have, because we have like 4 main guys like Siakam, OG, Barnes, and Fred.
And on any given night, maybe one or two of those guys will be off. And I don't even think OG was really off today. Like, he missed some clean looks in the first half, which makes his stat line look a little weird. So I think good teams always have some insurance for their main guys to be off. And that's what we're seeing today. Is it doesn't matter if OG has a poor shooting game in the first half, or it doesn't matter if Siakam, not in this game, but maybe in a couple of previous games, what was a little off. You have other guys who can kind of fill in the void. And what's cool about the Raptors right now is that you can run sort of two-man games with 4 or 5 people at any point. You can pick a combination of 2 people, whether it be Fred or OG, or Fred or Siakam, or Barnes, or I don't know, pick another guy, and you can manufacture quality offense by picking 2 out of those 4 guys somehow. So to me, this is like a problem of abundance.
Of course, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that, like, it does look like OG's, like, and Scotty for that matter, until kind of the second half and last game as well. They're kind of, I think that, like, everybody knows that this is Fred and Pascal's team, and they're just trying to figure out how to like get their, like, fit their possessions in properly. Because before, there was always somebody missing. There was always extra buckets to be had. And so I think, like, it's a good problem to have. It's just kind of interesting to observe, I think. I wanted to address Chris's question here about Kem early. I think it's because Pirtle was eating them up. I think, and I think it's like, this is Nurse kind of sometimes being overzealous with what he loves, rather than thinking about the matchup. I just think, like, you have a bona fide 7-footer. Why wouldn't you start Kem for the game? Maybe they thought they could outrun him early, but and then I also think they wanted Barnes to roll with the second unit. Any general thoughts there are from the game?
Yeah, Kem, I thought was quite poor. I think he got caught behind the pick and roll a lot, so he was always trailing his guy, and it's basically creating a little mini 2-on-1 situation in the paint in favor of the Spurs. And I think he's just a bit too slow. And I wrote in my quick reaction, I don't know if you can pull it up, but he doesn't really appear to offer any sort of threat beyond setting the initial high screen. Like, you can't really rely on him to kind of flare out for a 3, or pop out in the elbow area for something, or even roll to the rim hard. None of those things seem to materialize for him. He's almost in the way of the play after he sets the initial screen, which is probably the worst thing you can do. I would love to see Achua, who's more mobile, who's more slithery in his way going to the rim. I'd rather use the regular season as a way to kind of see where Achua fits into this offense in a pick and roll, in more pick and roll situations, than kind of go with Kem, who seems to be lumbering a little bit too much. Maybe it's the injury or whatever it is, but not liking what I'm seeing from him. Certainly in 2-man situations. I don't know about you, Manny. What would you think? Manny's chewing his gum. He's celebrating his 3-0 call.
He's eating fish.
2 for 3. 2 for 3. 2 for
3. I invited him last minute.
I was 3 for 0 last time, so
you can't eat cold fish. That doesn't.
I can't, and it's fresh, and I just made it, and I just got it from the market, and I'm like, I have to eat it tonight.
What kind of fish is it?
It's like barbecue. No, it's barbecue salmon. It's from Fortino's. So
salmon in Ontario.
Yep. Well, I'm on keto, so I have like an intermittent. I have intervals, right?
The January resolution, keto.
I'm not gonna say it, but you gotta try some things out when it's New Year. So.
Well, I'm about to go for a veggie burger and a beer, so screw keto. Anyway, back to the game. Yeah, Manny, did you have thoughts on Kem?
I mean, I honestly didn't see him. I agree with Zarar. He wasn't as effective, but I think a lot of that has to do with just finding his footing again, because I think he's probably missed the most games out of anybody that I can think of, really. It feels like he hasn't played much with, either unit, the first unit, the second unit. So, I mean, it's tough to say. I mean, for the most part, I would agree with Zarar, but I just think it comes down to getting his reps in more than anything.
He's probably still rusty and feeling it a little bit. I think if you think about it, like, we've never really been healthy. Birch had a lot more room to operate in the middle on the pick and roll, right? He has those little floater, and now it's like Pascal takes up a lot of that space in the middle. Like he's always trying to get his in that like 14-foot range. So maybe like Burch just feels like he doesn't really know where to go. And ironically, I feel like he could take some notes from Champagny, who rules the dunker spot. And like you're saying, Zarar, Precious too. Like they kind of understand how to run that baseline and be there for the dump pass.
Yeah, I agree. I think if regular season, man, at the end of the day, it's about experimentation, right? I mean, that's what this whole 82 game, too long of a season is. And it's nice to see the guys back. Now it's a question of, because I don't think you can you cannot win a playoff series without having a half decent pick and roll going. Like I think that's a fact. And the Raptors right now at this point in the season don't have that. They have options with Boucher. I don't have much faith in Boucher ever developing a reliable mid-range game. I honestly don't. I think his shot is basically conducive to like one distance, and that distance is the only shot he can make. It seems like
his shot's really only good for when you're holding a castle under siege.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's the only thing that works. So we have some time to figure it out. I mean, I'm not complaining. I just think Achua has enough of a skill. I think early on in the season, we saw him run a lot of two-man game with Fred, where he used to at least be on the end of a lot of lobs. Would love to see more of that happening in January, February, like before the All-Star game. So yeah, that's my only sort of complaint.
I mean, on that note of Boucher, like I would argue that this was his best game of the year. I mean, yes, he scored 4 points, but the plus minus thing, I don't know, but he was plus 21, which was second to only Pascal. But he was everywhere defensively. Like that's the Boucher of old. And Zarar on the podcast on Sunday, or on the Rapcast on Sunday, the wrap up. I was saying that like I don't really know that I want to trade Boucher anymore, and that caused an uproar. But I think when you see him play like this, like patching up that second unit defensively, it's like really encouraging, and he really seems to have found his energy and confidence again.
Yes, I was a little harsh on him in the quick reaction. But yeah, I'm going to walk back those words a little bit. But say, yeah, it's nice to see him play well against a depleted Spurs team, and kind of sub in when Kem was getting his lunch handed to him. With Boucher, it's never been about can he have one-off good games. I think it's a question of can he put together a month of basketball, which kind of puts him firmly into the rotation. That remains to be seen. So let's just leave it at that with Boucher. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
That was Oren's reaction and the viewers' reaction on Sunday. It was like, let's sell high because we've never seen this guy string it together for 6 weeks.
And this interior defense that I'm referring to here is I noticed a few plays where his boxing out was very subpar. It's almost he recognizes late that he has to box out, and by the time he recognizes it, he's sort of side by side with the guy he's boxing out, and he doesn't really have the physical strength to get rebounds from those positions. For him to get a rebound, he really needs to have advantageous position to get the rebound, which he doesn't. So that was my main beef with him in this game, in the first half especially.
That's good insight. That's like that's a classic flaw, I would say, with players who have always been taller and longer and can jump higher than other guys. And but Boucher is like, a fully grown NBA player now. It's kind of inexcusable to not be boxing out. But he continued to rely on out jumping people.
Yeah.
Doesn't fly.
Yeah, no, I would say that he's got way too much. He bites way too much on like fakes, and his defense tonight was good, but when you're when you jump that much, it's like, man, it's frustrating to watch because it happens over and over and over again. And I think that it just comes to a point where you think, when is he not gonna buy this? When is he just gonna learn that it's a fake and not like an actual shot?
He plays defense the same way on the perimeter as he does 2 feet away from the rim, all in.
That's good.
Right?
It's just like
there's a gauge in there where you got to measure. I'm on the perimeter, shot clock's winding down. I can afford to go and like do the whole, extend myself to 8 feet or whatever, 15 feet wingspan and try to get the block. But you cannot have that approach with 14 seconds on the clock when you're in a 2-man pick and roll defense situation. Yeah. So he's got to kind of, temper his the recognition of what's happening on the court and kind of tune yourself to that.
I find it funny. I think like Chris Boucher is like the hot coal of the Toronto Raptors team right now. Like he comes up every single game, no matter like whether he has a good performance or bad performance. It's pretty funny.
All right, man. I know you got to go. So let's. By the way, this is what COVID looks like.
You look not bad.
Oh wow, I'm sorry to hear that, bro. But you look great. So take care of yourself.
I'm good.
I'm gonna do. Would you guys have a taxman of the night?
Taxman of the night. I'm gonna go with like Scotty, because I'm gonna go with the same reason that I went with last time. That's like you gotta have multiple streams of income. He had multiple streams of income. He got 11 points. 8 boards, or I think 9 boards, 8 assists. He had a couple steals in there. He was diming and dishing it out, and I was like, man, this could be the game. This guy gets his first triple-double, but they took him out, and I don't know. I wish he did get it. I'm not gonna lie. I really wish he did get it, but whatever. There's another few. There's like a whole handful more games, so we'll see what happens.
Zarar, who's your taxman?
I like it because I think I like what Manny did there. He not only picked the taxman, but he also gave like a reason which was tied to finances. So
yeah.
Like it, Manny.
We don't always get that.
I mean, we don't always get that. We always get like this, kind of half-hearted.
You got to try. You got to connect it, man. You got to connect it all.
Yeah, I'd go with I've been enjoying Siakam a lot more lately. So I'm gonna go with Siakam. Just because I thought he started off the game kind of slow, had two quick fouls, had a turnover there, cost OG a 3, then forced his way against like multiple defenders on one-on-one, which didn't work out for him. But then he rebounded strong, man. And that's the thing with Siakam, is that sometimes we tend to focus on some of his ugly plays that he makes early in the game, and that memory sort of sticks with us and kind of taints the rest of his game. And I've sort of personally learned to kind of step back and evaluate his game in a much more holistic way. Yeah. And once you do that, you realize that, especially when other guys are making up for having good games, he does a lot on the court. And what I want to point out for this one is that even in this play we're seeing right here, excellent in transition. And transition doesn't just mean like run the lanes and start slamming the ball home on every possession. It means like getting out early, establishing position, and then your teammates getting you the ball there, and then having the knowledge and the wherewithal to actually see, am I covered? Am I not? Passing it out. He basically saves us 4 to 5 seconds on the shot clock whenever he leaks out in transition.
Pascal is a mean man. He is running down and hunting the mismatch. Like, I don't know if Pop and Siakam met before the game. And they're like, all right, let's give Primo like a little like rookie hazing here, because Pascal was searching him out and just going to work. And you're right. Like, that's good transition. It's not just being there in the lane, but getting to your spot and sealing him
having
off.
Your feet set too. Like, he just has his feet like right in this one. It's just he steps right into it, and it's like he's automatic. It's just,
if he's hitting that 3, he's an all-star. My tax man, look, I want my accountant to be perfect. I want them to be flawless. And Justin Champagny was almost perfect tonight. So he's going to be my tax man of the night. Viewers, you can go to canam.com, canamtax.com. It's a CPA, full service, small business accounting and tax firm with an experienced and friendly staff that can help you navigate the COVID flu better than Zarar does in his apartment. I don't know. Don't leave that money on the table. If you have questions about your personal taxes, reach out. They'll be happy to help out the Raptors community. Check them out at canamtax.com.
Hey,
Friends,
quick point on Champagny. By the way, everybody gets his name right now, which is progress.
That's great.
And
Yeah.
on his first three from the corner in front of the Raptors bench, he did wonderful to not step out of bounds. It was one of those, like, if I put my heel down, I'm out of bounds. He had the presence of mind to not do that, and he nailed it. So good on him. And it's the second good game in a row, because even last time he was pretty all right.
I put him in my 5 things I dig last week, and honestly, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, but his spatial awareness is incredible. Like, he had another one today where he's on the opposite end of the rim, and it's just like an easy putback. His touch is excellent, but he always seems to find himself at the right spot at the right time. And if he can hit that spot up three, he's going to get a lot more minutes. Someone asked if he could play the 2 guard. Absolutely not. But I think, coming off the bench for 12, 15 minutes a game, so far so good. I have 8 minutes, so let's hit a couple of questions, and then I got to bounce, and then you guys can do whatever the hell you want.
No, man, I got less than 8 minutes. I'm getting the cut eye here.
Oh, okay. And Manny, have you finished your fish yet?
I finished my fish because it's it was getting cold. It's like, man, it was hot, and then I was trying to finish it during the game.
Let's try and do these quick fire.
It's time to move on from
thumbs up or thumbs down.
That's a tough
one. No, I don't mean. So I'll say, thumbs down for this game from Flynn. I mean, he had a nice entry pass to Achua, I guess. I mean, that's what you can say here. But I don't think it's. I don't think you can. What do you mean by moving on from Flynn? Like, what does that mean? Like, does that mean we trade him?
Probably.
I think it means like probably he's out of the rotation, stuff like that.
No,
he definitely has to earn his way back into the rotation. Because he's in a situation where, barring a particular matchup, he's going to get very limited playing time, kind of like he did today. And in those moments or in practice, he has to show something that will propel Nick Nurse to pick him over. I don't know, man. Fred, Scotty in some situations, or Banton in some situations, maybe. So it's a tall order for him. I think he goes to the 905 again and tries his luck there for a bit more and see how he comes from there. A lot of Raptors have done that, so it shouldn't be any different for him.
Flynn's out of the rotation. Scotty's proven he can be the backup point guard and should be the backup point guard for now. Moving on, to me, insinuates trading him. And I've learned that with point guards especially, you got to give them time. You got, like, a lot of guards need to adjust to the speed. They got to, figure out decision making, how quick they can do that. So I think we just need to give them more time.
I would say that in terms of I would say he can't really. He needs to be given a fair chance. I think that right now, if he's gonna if last season was kind of a write off, we all know that. This season is his first season playing in Toronto. But what I would say is ultimately he needs more time to develop. So yes, 905, and I think that also when you consider who Nurse used today, I saw a tweet from somebody, it might have been Oren, but somebody tweeted out that Nurse confirmed that he was going to go with his 5, the 5 that we're used to now, and Boucher, Precious, and Birch off the bench. So, with that knowledge, those 8, there's only maybe 2 true guards in that lineup, and that's Fred and Gary Trent. So right now is as good at any time for Flynn to earn minutes. So whether it's through 905 and having him called up because he does well with the 905, or whether it's Nurse saying, "Okay, go in and show me what you got" in an actual Raptors game. I think this is like a crucial time for him to really prove that he belongs.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's definitely had a lot of opportunity to prove himself and hasn't, but I don't think that means we full on move on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, no question.
Easy.
Absolutely. And plus adding in some blocks, sprinkling in some steals there, he's going to be a defensive savant.
Going back to Scotty adjusting to being now the tertiary scorer or whatever, I think what you saw a little bit later on was he's like, okay, I just got to hit the boards. I've just got to do kind of the dirty work. And that immediately is going to get him a double-double. The nice thing about this team is there's always going to be a mismatch in isolation, but there's always going to be a mismatch on the weak side for like the offensive rebounding. And Scotty and OG both took advantage of that tonight. So I think this is a no-brainer eventually.
And what's cool about the Raptors is that given their quickness and, or not quickness, so much length and this defensive awareness as overall as a team, you can afford to go an offensive rebound. Because a lot of the times, if you go and like commit yourself on the offensive boards, you sort of give up the fast break if you don't get the board. With the Raptors, because they have guys who get back in transition well, you can actually afford to spend a guy or two to go crash the offensive rebounds. And Scotty does that because Siakam is very good at getting back on defense. So the balance on the court is like, it's almost like an elastic court. You have a couple of guys crashing the offensive rebounds and a couple of guys dedicated to going back. So you can sort of get the best of both worlds. You get the chance to get the offensive rebound while you're not giving up points in transition. I don't think that's rare for teams, and the Raptors possess the right skill and quickness and defensive just awareness to pull stuff like that. It's
definitely part of the like manifesto when they designed this team. That's definitely a part of it.
Yeah, give them like one more year. Like next year, I really do think that next year is going to be a much better year, and I think they are going to have, you know, they're possibly going to be a top 4 team in the East. But then again, we don't know who's going to be there, so I'm just looking at based on continuation. So if Raps can continue this with everybody coming, and it's like, wow, you just look at everything and a lot of offensive potential, a lot of defensive potential, a lot of stuff to be excited about for next year, for sure.
Okay, sorry.
Producer Chris, come in. Why don't you? He's got a. Why don't you
ask it, Chris.
Jump in.
Viewers, you fall behind to Chris. He gets.
That's what Chris looks like. There we go.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, my question was, at the start of the fourth, we saw that like crazy big ball lineup with Scotty at the point guard, then OG, Siakam, Boucher, and Birch. What did you guys think of that? And would you like to see more of it in the future?
You guys go. I have to dip out, so I'm gonna. Great question, Chris.
I would like to see Scotty just play point forward more, regardless of who the other guys on the court are. I was actually kind of excited to maybe I thought Nurse might play him in garbage time with some of the bench dudes and see how he fares there. So anything that gives Scotty more experience ball handling, regardless of if it's with the lineup that you mentioned or it's with the garbage time lineup. Sorry to call them that, but that's what I look forward to later on,
Adon. Yeah, Z, were you done? Or
he's gone. He's got a veggie burger or something.
Yeah. No, I didn't know if you were finished. Okay, so I'd say that I'm looking forward to it. I would say the one thing that the one thing that I want to see from Scotty too is like, I want him to be bringing up the ball more. And I think another thing that we need to take into consideration is how that helps everybody else out. That helps everybody else become better shooters and better spot up shooters. And Scotty is like, he's so good on transition. This is becoming the trend, is guys that are 6'9" who can dribble the ball and literally take 3 or 4 dribbles, make it from one end of the court to the other. I think that Scotty is obviously within that conversation. He's not particularly there yet, but he will be there. And I think it's going to make the Raptors, a crazy, crazy good shooting team. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, and I'd say, I mean, that lineup that you mentioned, Scotty, OG, Siakam, Boucher, Birch, I think if you want to put Scotty in those positions, the lineup that you mentioned, Chris, it doesn't have the best 3-point shooting. And if you want Scotty to handle the ball, you need some reliable outlets. So if you maybe take out, let's say, someone like Boucher and replace him with maybe have OG or Siakam play the center and have another 3-point shooter instead of Boucher, I think that'll serve Scotty well in his playmaking.
I'd like to see Champagny on the fast break if that's the case. Like, I definitely like to see him because, he's shown that he can shoot the 3. I want to see him like in transition more though.
All right.
But
okay, let's do one more, man. I gotta go.
Let's do it. I'm just closer to reality. Champagny on
me. What's his there are some guys who are like amazing from the corner. He strikes me as one of those dudes. Like, I don't think he's I'm gonna pull up in transition and hit threes that way, but I think he's a set shooter. And sometimes we don't differentiate between 3-point shots that are created for you and you're open, and 3-point shots where you have to do some work to create. He's definitely the former. So I think if he's a spot up shooter, I think it's closer to what we saw, this game.
Yeah, I would agree with that. See, I think he's definitely got some work to do with his shot, but it's nice to see that there's the potential there.
He's got a decent release. His release kind of is similar to I was watching this game like Josh Primo almost in a way, very very similar stroke, at least on a couple of threes I found.
Yeah, no, I liked what I saw from him tonight.
I saw one question here, if I can pull it up. It was like a Phoenix Plazy thoughts on these. Did you guys already do this or no? No,
I don't think we did.
Is he playing the Marc Gasol role? We got to have a feature where we invite the commenters to actually explain this more, because Marc Gasol picked apart people while being stationary. Like he wasn't dribbling around the perimeter and finding guys. He was more or less stationary in the perimeter or in the low block and doing like an Arvydas Sabonis type thing and finding guys. Scotty is doing more than that. Scotty is actually mobile around the perimeter, can drive, and then can dish. So I kind of see where Nurse is coming from, but in terms of like execution, I don't see the similarity.
I think the biggest thing is that Scotty kind of controls the pace, whereas Mark was able to adapt to it.
Yes,
somebody set it up for Mark, and somebody set the pace for the rest of the team. Whereas Scotty, he's the one in control. If he has, and he has the ball in his hands, probably second most to Fred. So
and Gasol was never a threat to drive.
Yeah, definitely not. No, he was either already in the paint or not. So yeah.
All right, man. Let's wrap it up.
Let's do it.
Who's wrapping it up? I'm not the host. You're not the host. Who's wrapping it up?
Okay, Chris, do you want to wrap it up, or do you want?
No, I think we got to wrap it up. Okay, right. This has been the wrap up. We'll see you after the next game. I'm too old to say like or subscribe, so if you want to like. If you don't. Either way, I live, and somebody else will be here next game.
Oh. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. See you guys.
Bye, guys.